All right. Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to Digital Shop Talk Radio. I'm Tom Dorsey. We got a great show for you today. We've got a follow-up. You probably heard a teaser a couple episodes back. I got Fred Gestwicki and Jessica, the boss Gestwicki from Fix It with Fred in Canton, Ohio. And Fred, if you remember, teased us a little bit a few episodes back talking about he was doing some experimentation, or let me put it a better way, innovation when it comes to price shoppers. And so we've got a fantastic episode for you. Get a sharp pencil and a notepad because you're going to want to take notes, because I got to tell you, this is probably one of those challenges that affects everybody listening today. You guys always are looking for a better way to handle those price shoppers. And Fred and Jessica are going to come in and drop some knowledge on us today and tell us a little bit about their innovation. Welcome, husband and wife team. Awesome, Fred and Jessica. And just remember, it's Jessica, the boss, Gestwicki.
It's everywhere but on her business card. I'm just saying. Yeah. But it makes life easy. If you ever want to know what to do, I just ask her and she tells me, and it makes life simple. That's a big realization we were talking about, Tom. You realize who's in charge and who's not. And then we have specific roles. When you work with your spouse, you have to establish who's in charge of what, and who's the leader and who's the follower in each situation. We build a really good network. It works well.
And we could tell from the name tag, the boss. I guess you guys got it figured out and you made a decision.
Yep. And act on it, man. And that's kind of leading into our topic today. That was something that came up on our service meeting, is price shopper. And, in every Facebook group and any conversation I have with a shop owner, they're talking about one of two things. How do we find more techs, and how do we get rid of the price shoppers? Those are the two main problems in our industry, you know? And then we have found a way around our tech issue, so we're able to keep our tech staff. But the more important thing is getting those customers in the door, the people calling, asking questions.
Yeah, for sure. And so you were telling us a little bit, you'd had some really interesting, I think maybe it was a script that you had created, and just kind of how you were managing those price shoppers. Tell us a little bit about it.
What we did, we started by trying to make a phone script and make it where you say basically the same things every time. And the problem we ran into, Tom, is that every phone call is not the same. Every person's not the same. We couldn't find a cookie cutter method to fit every situation. So we're going towards a set of phone guidelines, things that need to be covered in the conversation. And the realization we made is when somebody calls your shop and says, how much do you charge for brake pads? There's a group of reasons why they ask that question. There's the reason that all shop owners, including us, think that is the reason is, I'm really cheap and don't want to spend any money, so I need to know how cheap it is. That's what automatically price shoppers see. Am I right?
Right.
Then the second reason is they just don't know. They don't have this unlimited car fund in the bank where they can just come in and not care how much it is until you call them and tell them. So they have to be financially prepared. And there is a third one. It's really, really rare, where somebody's trying to be relatable and act like they know something. They don't want to seem like a complete dummy on cars. They want to seem like they have some kind of knowledge to back that up. But if we make a phone script and it's the exact same approach to every phone call, those three different people are going to need a different scenario. Because if you treat all of them like they're just being really cheap and not wanting to buy anything, the person that just doesn't know, they could have plenty of income to pay for brakes, pay for maintenance, but they don't know how much money to bring. They don't know how much money to tell their wife, the boss, that they're spending. They have to know something. And that second group is the one that really opened our eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, because, and it's funny. I mean, if you go online and you look, there's copper and lifetime and extra asbestos or whatever. There's just so many options out there. Let's cut to the chase. I'm going to call you up and say, how much is it to do some brakes, and which ones would you recommend for my car so I get the best deal for my money?
Well, and if you can take yourself out of being in the automotive industry, take all your knowledge and try and forget it. I did this exercise with my own car. I drive a Hyundai Sonata, and I looked up how much is a water pump on a Hyundai Sonata. I Googled that, and the range started in the $60 range and went up to $800.
Yeah.
Some of it was only parts. Some of it was parts and labor. There was such a variety that if I was clueless and I saw my car leaking coolant, and I knew cars have a water pump, so it must be the water pump leaking. So I'm going to call a shop and say, how much is a water pump? And in the shop owner's head, they're like, oh, it's a price shopper. I'm getting off the phone. You got to talk to them. Find out why they're asking. Find out what's going on with the car. Show some empathy. And even if you can't give them the answer, because we at our shop, we do not give prices over the phone. It's almost hard to give prices on an oil change unless you build the person's entire vehicle, because it could take extra oil, could take a goofy filter, could take synthetic, could take semi. I mean, the days of accurate pricing without having a car are almost over. You have to have the car in front of you, or choose to have a menu price that sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. Those are the options that we have, you know? So we want to try and find out who we have on the phone. I want to ask Jessica to tell some of the methods when she gets that price shopper. How much are brake pads? How much is a water pump? How much is an alignment? What is it, 9 out of 10 calls, right?
Wow.
How do you overcome those when you get those phone calls?
How do you flip them? How do you convert them into check writing customers?
Right. Well, I mean, it all starts with, having a conversation. I mean, definitely, I mean, you want to have some sort of empathy with them. They could be calling, like, Fred said, it'll be how much your brake pads. Well, you want to start with, some sort of question of why are we thinking we need brakes? Are we having noise? Or are they grinding? Do we have a pulse or something like that? Thank them for the opportunity to, allowing you to, quote, not necessarily quote them, but thank you, thank them for calling. Let's have a, one-on-one conversation, and get them off of the price and and start to actually get into the problem of why they think they need this. And once they actually see that you're there caring for the problem and caring for their vehicle, then in their mind, they're like, maybe I do need them looked at. Maybe I do need them inspected before, because like Fred was saying, a lot of people are like, oh, I must need brakes, and then put the doubt in their mind, of it could be more than just pads. It could be caliper. It could be hardware. It could be a rock.
All of the above.
Exactly. So that's where the conversation starts, is definitely showing some empathy, showing, we're there to care, let's inspect it. Let's get to the bottom of it. And then roll in your amenities, where we used to have a guideline or a script of, we have this, we have this, we have this, we have this. Well, now you're overloading a customer of all your amenities, and they're like, wait, I called about brake pads. I don't care about this. No, let me check it, because you might have this, you might have this. And then once you've opened them up, then roll in your amenities. And then they're like, oh, so now you care, and you're going to take care of me by, you have loaner vehicles and you have a warranty on top of that. That's awesome. Now I'm ready to really listen to you, and you're going to take care of me on top of that.
Yeah, because that makes sense, right? I would never call up the doctor on the phone and be like, hey, I'm coughing, doc. What pill should I go down to CVS and take, right? Hey, the guy just like pulls a card out of the deck. I think you got whooping cough, buddy. Good luck with that, right? You would never do that. And so if you just relate that conversation and you start doing those probative questions, it's like the doctor diagnosing, hey, does it hurt here? What happens when you cough, right? Turn your head. And if you can do that, then you get into a conversation, because then you're developing credibility, right? You're saying, oh, you're not just going to, and, if I am truly just some price shopper, I'm trying to check a quote for somebody else. I see that, you're not just, you actually, like you said, it's the empathy for me. You're taking the time out of your day to give me customer service. And you're not just going to throw out a number and hang up the phone and say, well, maybe I see you again, or maybe not. Once you start having that conversation, well, like you said, then it can be, it opens up the door, and then it becomes obvious. Hey, you have to come in here so we can take a look, because of all these variables. I'm not gonna, I don't want to give you a missed service, or, even worse, tell you some wrong information based off of a 4-minute phone call. Here's my address.
Right. And if the phone call starts to get a little if they start to, they're standoffish even in the conversation, that's when you can stop and even ask them, let me ask you the hard question here. What's more important to you, quality or price?
Draw a line in the sand. Don't tell them where these paths go. Take the car out of the way and ask that hard question. Where are you at on your brakes, Tom? What's more important to you? Is it price or quality? And then listen. And they will tell you if they are, I have 6 kids, I'm a single mom, and I have $30. I am looking for the absolute cheapest brake job in the entire world. And then that conversation, well, I'd love to help you, but I'm not going to be the cheapest shop. I'm not going to do the cheapest job. Or do some things like, where in the world can you find the best work for the cheapest price? That doesn't exist, whether it's on the internet or not. That with drawing that line in the sand, that lets the customer know, I'm trying to help you. Tell me where your value sits so I can see if we're the right shop for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's brilliant, right? I mean, because then you profile your customer, you get an understanding of what exactly is their main, buying priority, because then from there you can just start to talk about options, right? It doesn't mean that because, you are, have a low budget right now, it doesn't mean you can't get a better quality pad or whatever the component is, right? We just start talking about options, about how and why, right? If that's going on your soccer shuttle, it's going to be driving kids around all day. Do you really want to go the cheap route?
And when you say, like, if somebody, let's say they're being cheap right now because they know Christmas is coming and they're buying their Christmas present, and they have a bonus coming in January, and you get to talk to them and they're like, normally quality is the most important thing, but this next 3 months is really, really hard for me. And I just don't have the money to do this, but my car broke. You can open that conversation. We have financing with 6 months, same as cash, where you can defer this expense till you get your bonus in January. And now, by being willing to talk and then listen, we've opened the opportunity to build a relationship with the shop and that new customer.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. You can never prejudge. I mean, it's just like somebody you say, drives in with a car, and you'd say to yourself, if that was my car, I'd just light it on fire and kick it off a cliff. Hey, you know what? That's their pride and joy. That's how they get their kids to school. That's how they get to work and earn their, food on the table. And so you really have to put yourself in that prospective customer's shoes and find out, right? What is their most important drivers, like you said, right? What is their profile? And then from there, the conversation is just about, options, right? It's just really about providing customer service and value. And here's the deal, is that the customers you want to do business with will make the right choice, and the ones you don't go whoop, and you're like, sayonara. Let me give you an address.
You brought something up when you said with profiling your customers. That is dangerous, but it's good. You've got to be open to everything and anything. Like ATI coach Kim has taught me that. Be open to everything and anything. When you ask a question, be ready for every single answer. Yeah. Jessica had, what was it, a Corolla? Mm-hmm. An older Corolla. Can you share the experience you had with the car that looked like it was ready to go to pull apart? I mean, it wasn't rusted out. It's a car that's a $500 car. You can buy them online for $500 all day. And she had a new customer with that. How did that experience go?
Yeah, he came in and he told me that he had a fuel smell, and I was like, it was a 98 Corolla, and I was like, I'm going to condemn this. I mean, we live in the Rust Belt. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah, it's probably coming up from those holes in the floorboard.
Right. And no, it was a first-time customer. I explained, exactly how we do things. He was all about it. And, we went over the inspection, I sent it to him. He loved it. This turned into repairing his vehicle. And it wasn't rusted through. This really wasn't. It actually was a good, solid car. It turned into, I think it was a $3,000 repair.
Wow.
To get it, to get everything done.
He authorized,
that
right?
he authorized, maintenance and all.
Done, picked up, gone.
Turned into a 5-star Google review, and the guy has already, scheduled his follow-up. He's an advocate. He's about it.
He's all about it.
Yeah.
That's awesome, right? He likes the way the seat feels. Who knows, right? He likes the distance from the steering wheel to the chest bone. who knows, why people love their cars, right? My mom used to have an old Dodge pickup. The thing was a pile. Man, I still wish we had that truck because, one of the best things about it is you could drive it through anything, right? Oh, there's a wall or a fence there. Who cares? I'm going right through it in this Dodge. And so we loved it, right? We maintained it. We took care of it. We had it for probably 30 years or something. It was insane. But, like you said, you just can't prejudge people, what they use their vehicle for and why, it was a hand-me-down from a relative or something. It's super important to me. And I'm going to invest in it, right? So let's talk about this. So have you been tracking some numbers? Are you marking somewhere in some data, a spreadsheet or something when you get those price shopper calls and how much you're converting them?
Since we're still in the development stage, because with advisors, most advisors work with their guts, not with their calculators. That's why they're good advisors. That's why I'm not a great advisor, because I like calculators and spreadsheets. And she smiles because I'll answer the phone if she needs me to. I found to try and write this bulletproof set of guidelines, set of topics that need covered, set of amenities that need to be mentioned to the new customer, and then go, here's how we're doing it. We've done that before and it didn't work as well. So what we were doing wasn't producing our results. So what we're doing is taking notes and we're forming a process. We've been working on it for a couple weeks. We're not a high volume shop. We're 25 to 30 cars a week. So, for us to take in 40 calls a week is a good bet. 40 phone calls, acquisition calls would be an amazing amount.
Yeah.
We want to see what's working and what's not working. And we're taking notes, but we don't want to start compiling data when it's still a shifting work in process. It's still evolving, and it will always evolve because our market's changing with online parts suppliers, Google answering everyone's question. We're not going to find an answer, and that's bulletproof. It's going to last the next 10 years. No, it'll last like a month. Then we'll have to change it. But we've noticed, right now, most shops overall phone activity has slightly decreased for September. And that's just from any of my 20 group friends or shop owner friends. Everyone's activity was less, and our new customer number either stayed the same or increased. And our web activity with our AutoVitals web advisor decreased, but our new customer number increased. So that, using the BCP, I can see the maintaining or increase in the new customer count when the KPIs that support that have gone down. So I do feel having that conversation instead of that script, having different ways that phone call can go. Not only is it doing a higher conversion rate, when she has a price shopper that is just literally price-based, so they don't need to come here, you get off the phone quicker, and it doesn't ruin your day because you're not like getting to the part, you make the appointment, and then you text them and they cancel.
Yeah.
Do you have less of a defeat by doing this method? Or how does it help you feel?
Oh yeah. I'm not, oh great, I've got them coming in Tuesday and it's a no-show, or, it's, the text reminder goes out or whatever, and it's a cancel. I don't get near as much as that anymore, because that conversation's happening, and, we go through it, and either that line is drawn, or, like I said, we have this conversation, and I'm like, this is how we do this. This is what we're looking to do. We're here to take care of you. We're here to, get to the root of the problem, and they're with it or they're not. And a true price shopper,
they're never
they're not with it,
They're not.
They're out there. Of course they're out there.
Yeah.
You can't convert them all.
No, and it's like you said, if you just start asking those questions, it's simple to identify, which type of price shopper they are, right? Is it somebody who's really trying to find out a budget, or is it somebody who's just looking for the cheapest deal or trying to compare you to somebody else? And they're going to be gruff, and they're going to be short, and they're not going to want to answer your questions. And so then you get an idea right off the bat, right? Take your time, nurture the folks that, are looking for help, and, sayonara to the ones that are just trying to chop you up. And I'm sure you get it even from competitors and people like that are just trying to find out where your pricing is versus them. And so you have to be able to identify, all of those calls. Let me ask you this, Jessica, how do you position the digital inspection into that value proposition when you're talking with a price shopper, or do you?
Oh, absolutely. Every single time I talk to somebody, I tell them that, we're a digital shop. And not only are we going to get to the root of your problem and find out exactly why, your vehicle's here, but we want to look at your vehicle as a whole, and we do, a vehicle inspection. So we want to look at your vehicle as a whole. And that's how I do it. And some people might be a little standoffish at first because, when they're calling as a price shopper, they're like, oh, you're going to get me as a, so I take it a few different ways. If some might take it as, oh, you're trying to get me as a sales tactic. And so I might take it as, this isn't a sales tactic. I just want to make sure your vehicle's safe. I want to check it. This is something that you would expect a shop to check while you're here. And they're like, oh, yeah, absolutely. So, and they take it very well. And some I do, we just want to check the vehicle over as a whole, make sure your brakes look good, make sure, you're not leaking any fluids. And they're like, yeah, that's great. Every phone call is different. You have to take every single person different, just how that conversation goes.
Yeah. Hey, I'm wondering, it'd be interesting to see if you can capture the lead, right? Is to say, hey, why don't you give me your cell phone number or an email address and just go for it to see if they'll give that up. And I'll send you a copy of, a sample one or something like that. So you can see what it looks like and see if you can't do two things, set the value prop and let them get the inspection in their hand and see if that doesn't influence them. And then if not, you capture their contact information for follow-up and marketing.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, I got a question from the audience out here. Is now a good time, Tom?
Of course.
Okay,
Well,
great.
Good time for you anyway. Did you drive this question over, by the way?
Yeah, I didn't crash it. Don't worry. We can talk about that later. Hey, Candace Dixon wants to know how you handle customers who want to bring in their own parts, and how do you handle customers who say, hey, I can get that part at X amount of dollars at AutoZone. How do you handle that?
Great question.
So very common in automotive, we hear people take a steak to the restaurant, take your food to a restaurant, have them cook it. And in my opinion, there is a disconnect in that analogy. When you go to a restaurant, most people know how to cook. Most people know how to go to the grocery store, buy food, take it home, cook it, and eat it. They just know how. There's no special skill there. Yeah, they might make the steak better, but you know how to cook a burger. When you buy fast food or prepared food, you're making a conscious decision to buy something that you know how to do yourself. And you're saying, I'm going to pay more for the convenience. Automotive is not that way. A better analogy is if we look at electricians, plumbers, some of the other service industries that are blue collar service industries. So let's say when I need a water heater at my house, and a water heater online is $200 for me to get one, but I call the plumber and he wants $800 installed. When we get those people that say, I can buy this at AutoZone for this amount of money, we say, yes, you can. That's exactly right. To buy the part to do it yourself is much cheaper. And we shift it to another industry. We say, what we found is in most of the industries like us, automotive, plumbers, electricians, if you take the cost of the raw materials times 4 or 5, that gives you the end result. If you need a new breaker panel in your house and they want $2,000 to put the breaker panel in, I bet you the materials are between $400 and $500. You're getting a water heater installed for $800. That water heater is around $200 to $250. And there are some extreme cases that don't fit, but we let them know that that is normal. And another thing, we'll say everything you've purchased in the past week has been marked up by the company you bought it from. The bottle of water you bought at the gas station this morning for $1 cost them 9 cents. So yes, we do mark our parts up because all businesses do. We like to make it relatable to something they have experienced and be the same as other businesses. So that's how we overcome the markup thing. The people questioning, you're marking my parts up. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to charge you like every other business in the entire world does. That's what we all want to say. I'm so sorry. Am I supposed to give it to you at my wholesale price? Is that what you're expecting? But we don't do that to people. Now, how do you handle the bringing their own parts? Because you get that is huge common, and it's going to become more common as time goes on. So how do you overcome that?
As far as supplying own parts, I nip it right in the bud, and I just say, you know, for insurance and liability purposes, I don't accept customer supplied parts. Just flat out, I just say no. I normally, I don't have any pushback once I say that. I mean, I have a couple that be, what do you mean? And I'll just say my insurance does not allow me to install customer supply parts, and they leave it alone. And
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward.
I encourage every shop owner to call their shop insurance agent and say, hey, I got this guy that brought me brake pads and I'm going to put it in. If I put these brake pads on, am I covered? And listen to what they say.
Yeah.
Because I did that. Whew. Yeah. He's like, well, that would be a really long court case and pretty good chance we would drop you because having consumer supplied materials is in our contract or our what's the word for the
Policy.
the policy? Yeah. It's in our policy that you have to supply the materials for the jobs you're doing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when I know people are going to still try and buy their own parts, people are going to try and buy their own water heater and have a plumber put it in. The plumber goes, nope.
Yep. Until
Until the day comes where our industry chooses to, as an industry, no longer accept do-it-yourself parts in a service industry, we will still have those people asking. But yeah, we just tell them up front, and she's converted a lot of those customers into the I have my part in my hand because I bought it on Amazon and I want you to put these brakes in, converted them to real customers.
Yeah. 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 Because I mean, you just have to shift the conversation from a cost perspective because look, the amount of money you pay, let me double up the part and whoopity do, you know, oh, $20 part's now 40. It's the quality of the installation. You know, it's the quality, it's your warranty. It's the fact that if something's wrong, I can come back and get it fixed and I'm not crawling around in the driveway. I mean, there's so much more value that you can talk about when he's trying to argue over a little couple bucks here and there on a part. Hey, I'll tell you what, let's finance a thing. Let's do, you know, here's some options, right? You know, here is a maintenance plan. So you buy less parts over the life of your vehicle. How about that one? Right. Yeah. I mean, there's so many other conversations that you can have there. I mean, it almost becomes moot. When you really boil it down to what is necessary for, you know, the safe, reliable operation and longevity of that vehicle. Well, so how does that work? So, I mean, what's kind of the ratio? Do you get a lot of folks that are, yeah, I already bought my part, you know, I can't return it, you know, and then they're off they go, or do you tend to see more success converting them to saying, oh, that makes sense and great, and then how much would it be? And then I'm in the price shopper call, and then we convert them to come in for the inspection. Which way do you see it? Do you get more that say, you know, have a nice day, or do you convert more?
I would say when someone already has their part in their hand, that's probably a 50-50, you know, because some is like on the overheating side that I get to convert a lot of those, you know, because they think it's just a thermostat. They think it's just a water pump. And I'm like, you let me check that, you know, and I can convert that, you know, but when it's, you know, when we're talking about brake pads, that's, you know, that's a little harder of a conversion. But when it's an actual, you know, a hard failure, you know, that's a little easier to convert because, you know, you're like, you know, we're talking about a big repair here. So when someone's got, you know, like I said, a big failure, and they said, well, I've got the part in my hand. Well, you know, that's great. Let me check it. Let me see what I have. Yes, I know you got that part in your hand. What if that breaks? Are you going to call Amazon and be mad at them? You know,
Nope.
who's going to warranty that? Is someone going to come out and fix that for you? I mean, so then they get it and they understand. And then they know that now I've got a 2-year warranty to back it and I'm here. You know, who's going to come out and fix that in your driveway? It's not going to happen. And so I'm able to convert that a lot easier than, you know, like I said, than someone with a brake pad in their hand or a control arm in their hand or something like that.
Yeah.
So
If it's
that is a 50-50.
No, that's awesome. So, you know, I got to tell you, I'm excited. So are you guys going to come back on, you know, as you start to refine this and start to compile some data and start to give some actuals, maybe we kind of do a case study and have you back on, in a couple future episodes. I mean, I know we'll have you back on eventually, but I'd really like to see the results of this effort and see some hard numbers on how it's impacting, your ability to convert and things like that.
Yeah, you good with that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'd like to see the online listings because it's all online. That's the world. Everything's online. Listings versus new customer rate, the conversion rate of phone calls to new customers, those types of numbers. I'd really like to see us capture more, and the ones that we don't get rid of them faster, get off the phone faster and do something else.
No, exactly.
Free up your time.
Exactly, right? Just filter them right out. And then, like I said, then try to capture that, just go for it anyway. If you're going to bounce them off the phone, just try to capture that email or try to capture that cell phone number and then send some nurture follow up to them and, push out your digital inspection, push out your, like you said, your amenities and things like that, and see if you can't convert them in the long run. It doesn't cost anything to try.
Absolutely.
Love it.
So fantastic. Well, I look forward to that. I know it's amazing. We're already up on the hour. I think you guys have a shop meeting to get to, don't you?
Coach call.
Oh yeah, coach call. Yeah. I know you're always at hard break on here, so I'm going to let you get. But if you want to take this conversation onto Facebook, you guys know where to find Fred and Jessica. You might want to, ask for the boss. That's just a tip. Whatever you do, don't get a ride from Dustin. So real quick story. I just gotta pick on Dustin a little bit. Dustin's our producer. We were out at the Drive Expo last week, and this guy, talk about heart and dedication. He's about a mile. You can see us across the parking lot. He's on his way in from LAX. He flew in from Minneapolis in a rental car, gets in a head-on collision. We call him. We're like, oh my gosh, freaking out. What help do you need? About an hour later, they brought him a new car. He was okay. And then comes in and just knocks it out the whole rest of the day, standing on his feet, helping us out at that Drive conference. And I just really want to give a shout out to Dustin. The guy is incredible, does great work for us. And, I'm just glad you're safe, Dustin, but I'll never drive anywhere with you for as long as I know you.
Bumper car champ.
Just saying.
Bumper car champ, man.
Yeah, he is. That was incredible. But thank you very much, Fred and Jessica. It's always a pleasure to have you on. I'm, really looking forward to seeing you soon. We're going to come out to Ohio and do a workshop soon. So,
are you really?
Yeah, we are. I was talking to a guy at Drive, and we've got a couple other people. So we want to come out and get in your backyard. And I haven't seen you guys since Super Conference, so I miss you and looking forward to coming out to Ohio.
Oh, we miss you,
Be
Tom.
perfect, Tom.
I
Thanks.
want to get some meat on a stick.
Steak on a stick will change your life, brother.
I don't know if it's the stick or the meat, but one of them I'm going to enjoy. But like always, man, thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys coming on. Until next Wednesday, get out there, make some money, get on the Facebook forum, pick these guys' brains. They're going to tell you great ideas. Put your ideas and push it out there. The whole point of this show, what we're doing is trying to help, shop owners, helping other shop owners, learn from each other and get better at the job. So don't be shy. If you want to come on the show, hit up Dustin, put it on Facebook. We'll have you on. Until next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And we'll talk to you then. Oh, and the show's going to be, it's great. We're doing a case study. So we're having Matt Fowler, Doug Brackett, and Jamie Whitlock back. We're going to be, and they're going to be joined by Bill Connor, one of our great trainers. And we're going to be talking about best practices for pickup. So you don't want to miss it. See you next Wednesday. Thanks a lot, everybody.